So recently I did a review on the Lenovo Flex 3i. It was a 12.2-inch Chromebook, and now I have the Flex 5i. And this is a Chromebook that a lot of you should really consider because it's been going on sale like crazy. I've seen it under $400, but you get incredible performance, a really good screen, and I want to let you know if this device is really worth your money. So with all that being said, I'm going to give you a full review on the Lenovo Flex 5i Chromebook. Let's get into it. So this Lenovo Chromebook Flex 5i, it is actually a Chromebook Plus model. And if you don't know what that is, Chromebook Plus simply means that if you're buying a Chromebook like that, you know it's going to be pretty good. You're going to need something like an i3 processor like this has. You're going to have a 1080p screen at least. You don't want to buy a Chromebook and then get home and find out that the screen is like 720p on the resolution. You don't want an ugly looking display, or you don't want a device that's going to be super slow. But this has 8 gigs of RAM, an i3 processor. There are a lot of things to like about this Chromebook. You also get a very good typing experience, backlit keys, a 1080p webcam. So when you get all of those things in a Chromebook, well, a lot of times those things in a Windows laptop, a lot of times those things cost like $600. This Chromebook technically does retail at $499, but when you look at other devices, other Windows laptops at this price, you're often not going to get a 2K display like you're getting on this Chromebook here. A lot of times those Windows devices, especially around $400, you're going to see something like an HP Pavilion. Often they have terrible battery life, but this Chromebook actually has pretty good battery life. Like I would say you could get around 8 hours, maybe 9, or maybe 6 or 7 depending on what you're doing. But the point is the battery life is pretty good here. You also get a display that will fold all the way back. You get touchscreen in this device, so you can run Android apps. You could actually use this just like you would use an Android tablet. You also get 128 gigs of storage in this model. But the big thing you need to know about Chromebooks around this price is a lot of times they go on sale. At Best Buy, I'm looking at it, and even on Lenovo's website, you're going to see sales like every few weeks. And when you're seeing these sales, it might be the HP Chromebook 360. It might be the Acer Spin 714. But no matter what Chromebook it is, you're going to find that they often go on sale by $100, $200, or even $300. So this Chromebook right here, it is $500 or $499 right now, but I did see it recently for $380. Whenever it was Black Friday, I technically saw it for about $350. Now don't lose heart or don't wait for that Black Friday sale. The point is that you could often find this Chromebook around $400. And if you find this for $399, you're not going to find a lot of Windows laptops out there with specs that are even close to this. This device is also going to get software updates until 2032. We're talking about a massive amount of software updates for years and years to come. So that is very, very significant if you are wanting to keep your device around for a long time. So if you are someone who just wants a computer for the basics, if you are someone who wants to use your web browser, if you're someone who wants to actually run some Android apps, you want to get some good productive work done, but you don't actually need the best device in the world. That's where this device comes in. So to get a 2K resolution in the display here, that is a really, really big deal. To get a nice i3 processor, to get plenty of speed out of it. For one, the screen is so good, and this device is so fast. So you could have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things open. It doesn't matter. This is gonna fly through pretty much anything you do. Whenever I was going from app to app, and whenever I folded the screen back even and I went into tablet mode, I was able to move from app to app no problem. I was able to go to the news. I was able to go check out some things on ESPN. I was able to go even to various websites, and it doesn't really matter what I was doing. The point is I was able to do those things very quickly. And if you're someone who doesn't use a bunch of Windows programs, why bog your computer down with all those things? Why not get a computer that you could just pull up what you need, go very, very quickly, and especially if you have an Android phone, by the way, because Android phones, there is a thing called a phone hub, and you can actually share your hotspot easily with your Chromebook. You could unlock your Chromebook right from your phone, so if your phone is unlocked, your Chromebook can unlock as well. So there's a lot of benefits to getting a Chromebook like this. But if I just look at this Chromebook in particular, the display is amazing for entertainment. Again, it looks absolutely phenomenal. A lot of Chromebooks around this price range, like the HP Chromebook 360, I would say that's the biggest competitor that this Chromebook does face. That Chromebook, well, it's very nice. I actually own it myself. I really enjoy it, but it does only have a 250 nit display. So the display isn't quite as bright as this device. This device does have about 300 nits of brightness. So the brightness levels are very, very decent. I understand it's not 500 nits. It's not quite as good as something like the Acer Spin 714, but this is a little bit cheaper at its retail price, and it does go on sale a little bit more frequently at a cheaper price. So compared to everyone else around this price range, if you see this device on sale, the point is you're probably going to get the best display and the best performance for the money. I think it's really going to be really, really good there. Now, of course, if you look at the device and the build itself, you are going to notice there's no HDMI port. That is true. But you do have a USB-C port on both sides of the tablet, so you could charge your device on either side, and you could technically buy like a $20 USB-C hub. You could connect it to HDMI and get this connected to a monitor pretty easily. But at least you have some flexibility with those USB-C ports. You also have a USB-A port, a headphone jack, and an SD card slot on the left-hand side. And you do have this USB-C port on the right with the Kensington lock here, the up and down on your volume, and your power button. Now you're gonna notice there's no fingerprint sensor on this device, so I do have to mention that. And you're also gonna notice, well, maybe you wouldn't from the review, but it is a little bit heavier than some other devices. So it is a little bit heavier than the HP Chromebook 360, for example. That's just one thing to keep in mind. And there is some plastic in the build. There's no doubt about it. If I do press a little bit on the keyboard deck, there is a little bit of flex there. There is a little bit of plastic. But whenever I'm typing on this, honestly, this is still a terrific typing experience. I really, really enjoy typing on this Chromebook. Even compared to my HP Chromebook 360, I do have a really good typing experience overall on this device. And the touchpad is actually very good as well. So whenever you're looking at this Chromebook and what it has, if you're looking at it in totality, you're gonna get good battery life, a really good display, good performance. It's going to fly through pretty much everything you do, 8 gigs of RAM, plenty of storage, 128 gigs will be more than enough for pretty much anything you're doing on a Chromebook. And even if you're looking at something like gaming, this is gonna do a decent job. Again, remember that a lot of Android apps and Android games on the Google Play Store, remember a lot of those games are actually built to work with ARM processors. If you don't know anything about that, the point is it's meant to work with the processors that are in phones or in tablets. But when you put a i3 processor in here, it's really trying to work a little extra hard to work with those games. So you are gonna get mixed results as far as gaming, as far as some Android apps, but overall, I still had a good experience. If you are playing some lower end games, it's gonna work just fine with those games from the Google Play Store. And about 80% of the games people play anyway on their phones or on their tablets. About 80% of those games on the Play Store are going to work beautifully on this device. But if you really push your device to the limit, if you're really trying to play something, even something like Asphalt 9, you may want to turn down the graphics a little bit to make sure that you don't have any hiccups. So that's one thing you need to keep in mind as far as gaming, but it's still going to do a really good job with most games. But you do want to remember, this is not going to run games that work on Windows. It's not going to run normal PC games. You're going to have to run Android apps, like Android games that you find on your phone, and you're also going to run things like GeForce Now or some type of streaming platforms like Game Pass. You could get those things to work on this if you do have a good internet connection, but you're not going to be able to just hardcore game with typical games that you would get out there in the world, like on Windows. And technically, there are some workarounds to that, and by the way, I want to say you could even install Linux apps, an extra bonus, and I think those apps will actually work pretty decently on this. If you find some really cool Linux programs, there's an easy way to install Linux apps. Yes, you might want to Google it, Google some instructions, but there are some ways to install some extra programs for free if you are interested. So what do I think of this Chromebook? Well, I know I talked a lot about how Chromebooks are and how good they are and bad, but if you do compare this even to the Chromebooks out there in the landscape, this is going to be one of the best Chromebooks you're going to find for the money. If you do want a little bit of a better Chromebook, if you want an i5 processor with even more power, if you want a little bit of a better screen, I'm talking about an even more gorgeous screen with better brightness. At that point, the Acer Spin 714 might be the model model that you go with. And if you want to go all the way up to like $1,000, I know the HP Dragonfly Chromebook and even a new Chromebook that Acer is releasing soon. Like, there are some great options around $1,000, and there are good options around $600 or $700. There's no doubt about it. But this device is going to give you 95% of the performance, and your average person won't notice any difference in the performance between this and a $700 Chromebook. The display is 90% as good. You get a 2K resolution on the display. It's just a little less bright than some other competitors, again around $600. So to get this for $500 and to find it on sale, especially under $400, which a lot of people will, this is still a really good bargain even in 2024. Yes, the HP Chromebook 360, the 14C, you could find it often around a similar price. But that device, even though it's a little thinner, even though it's a little lighter, the brightness is also not quite as good. The typing experience isn't quite as good. I think the build quality is a little bit better. I think the materials are a little nicer, but you have a lot of downsides there. And with this, there's not a lot of downsides. It doesn't feel super cheap to me. I understand there's some plastic here, but it's great performance, a really good screen, and honestly, it's one of the best bargains you're gonna find in a Chrome OS laptop. And especially if you compare it to other Windows laptops around this price, this is gonna be a lot better than those and a lot better of a bang for your buck, at least in most scenarios. So thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please give me a like and give me a sub. That would mean a lot to my channel. Another thing that you could do, by the way, if you're really curious about my content, remember, I cover a lot of Chrome OS devices as well as Android tablets and a lot of phones. So check out some other reviews, especially with a lot of Chrome OS tablets coming up. I've heard about those. I'll be covering those and a lot of other devices. So again, stay tuned to my channel, check out some other content if you get a little bit of time, check those affiliate links in the description. That is a great way to support me, and I hope you have a great day, and I really hope you enjoy your week.